El zorzal de Bicknell es una especie de ave migratoria que viene aquí a República Dominicana probablemente a mediados de noviembre. Ocupa hábitats como bosque húmedo, en la Cordillera Septentrional, en la zona que estamos. Específicamente estoy estudiando cómo la densidad del zorzal de Bicknell puede ser afectada por los cambios en la vegetación. Si sabemos de cuáles plantas se alimentan, entonces podemos sembrarlas y proveerle más recursos y poder manejar los hábitats de la especie.
And you also need the back.
Okay, so flip featherware's a 1.
Any featherware parasites?
Nope, 1 across, 28.6 weight. 2890. This is the bird that has spawned across the hemisphere. This is the Bicknell's thrush. We think of it as our bird up here in Vermont, New York, and Maine. But really, it spends 6-7 months in the Dominican Republic, in Haiti, on the island of Cuba, and on 2 other islands, Jamaica and Puerto Rico. That's it. The entire world population spends the winter on only 4 islands.
278.
This we can tell is a baby. It was hatched this summer. It's got all these little spots, which it will molt off and replace.
Tanto las hembras como los juveniles son los que van a garantizar que la continuidad de la especie. Entonces, en la Cordillera Septentrional vemos que hay un patrón, hay muchas áreas degradadas, se están perdiendo los hábitats, por eso es crítico que se conserven áreas como la reserva del Zorzal y que que sigan existiendo estas iniciativas.
La Reserva Zorzal es la primera área protegida privada establecida en la República Dominicana y tiene un fuerte componente social y de sostenibilidad económica, además de conservación de la biodiversidad.
Las áreas productivas que se dedican a la agricultura transforman los hábitats y posiblemente impactan de forma negativa la biodiversidad. Sin embargo, los cultivos de cacao se han encontrado que conservan una gran biodiversidad de aves en general, que haya un balance entre las áreas que se utilizan para la agricultura o cultivos como el cacao, pero siempre conservando una parte de las plantas nativas o remanentes de bosque. Esa es la cigua palmera, es el ave nacional de la República Dominicana. Entonces, específicamente me refiero al cacao de sombra. Estos hábitats tienden también a ser lugares para la conservación de las aves.
La conservación es multisectorial. Necesitamos que el sector privado, el gobierno, las organizaciones internacionales, los gobiernos de otros países también apoyen la conservación.
I was studying at University of Vermont. My advisors suggested I look at the Bicknell thrush. This is an example where there's population decline of a species, and you really need to look at the migratory path to solve the population decline. My mission was to work with cacao farmers to certify them organically, get more money for the product, ferment the beans, have a better quality, and increase income to reduce the pressure on these biodiversity hotspots. People are tied together by environmental services. It can be water, it can be climate change. In our case, it was birds. If you think about the global economy, a lot of it's business, a lot of it's policy, but there's also a science community that communicate and work together on conservation initiatives.
Nosotros tenemos que entender que la Tierra es una sola y que todos estamos interconectados. El Zorzal nos da a entender esto, de que esta isla del Caribe está conectada con Norteamérica, con los Estados Unidos, que hay una vinculación fuerte. En lo social lo hay también. Hay más de 2 millones de dominicanos en los Estados Unidos, que crea un vínculo, un lazo.
The conservation community identified the Dominican Republic as prime habitat to conserve. In 2012, eco-investors got together and purchased a 1,019-acre bird reserve in the Northeast Dominican Republic. Not one community needs it more than the other. North America is just as concerned as the Dominican Republic.
There's only about 100,000 on the planet. That's it might sound like a large number, but for a species of any kind, that's a tiny number. I mean, think about robins. There are so many millions of robins in the world, and most kinds of birds. This is one of the rarest, certainly in eastern North America. So we're concerned about it.
Running a 1,019-acre bird sanctuary is not cheap. So we were looking for a financing mechanism. Dominican Republic's the #1 organic producer of quality cacao. So we looked at this as an opportunity to use another forest product to finance this bird reserve.
El objetivo es seleccionar un cacao que esté ya un color bien amarillo para evitar que, un ejemplo, esta mazorca no pase. Buena calidad empieza la post cosecha en la selección de la mazorca.
So Zorzal Cacao is the cacao-focused company that runs that operation to finance the bird reserve.
It's important to find responsible consumers, and we are telling all others that biodiversity is a good business.
This trip was spontaneous. I reached out and asked if I could see Zorzal, just hang out, have fun.
I missed you. How you doing?
Good.
Oh my gosh.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
We ended up starting to talk more in depth about potential partnership, and so the journey became much more meaningful, much more significant, and took on just a different level of depth. The organization and cleanliness and professionalism of the Zorzal operation stood out as really unique and special.
Dice una vieja frase, no importa la cantidad sino la calidad. La diferencia que tenemos nosotros como Zorzal es que exigimos calidad, porque exportamos calidad. Lo cual aquí el cacao que lleva tiene que tener unos protocolos y tener las condiciones que se requiere para una buena fermentación. Por tal razón, nosotros le podríamos garantizar de que tengamos un cacao cada día con más calidad, que requiera con los protocolos que requiere ese productor artesano.
So these are the fermenting boxes. We do a 4-tiered system. So we do 48 hours first box, 48 hours second box, then 1 day, 1 day. So 6-day ferment.
I worked corporate for quite a few years as a corporate chef, and it was all about the bottom line. There was no connectivity to the product whatsoever. It was just, are you making money? And I didn't want to do that anymore. A lot of people feel disconnected to food, and we want to reconnect that. There are faces behind these ingredients, and we wanted to make sure that those faces were telling the story through our product. And I think it's so important to understand that it's not just the cacao that we're purchasing, but the reason behind these birds coming to this reserve. And the reason cacao is attributing to that process.
Our goal all along has been to equip our Dominican and Haitian partners and Cuban partners to become the stewards of this bird and its habitats, and that's the future. It's really in the hands of our local counterparts, and that's happening now.
If we can demonstrate how to conserve habitat by bringing partners together on identifying the limiting factor of this species, we can do it for other species, other global problems we have.
The importance of conserving the southern habitat is a higher priority right now because it's more vulnerable, I think, to habitat loss. These habitats, these mountaintops are well protected.
La comunidad trabajan conjuntamente en un objetivo global, común, como es la conservación del medio ambiente.
Creo que es un proyecto que estamos vinculados por amor. Esa es la principal conexión.
Our focus is around the science, and around that, there's a lot of benefit that both parties can partake in. Where all the cacao is grown in the world is where all the biodiversity is. So if we could use cacao to conserve more habitat worldwide, that's so important for our environment, our global economy, then we'd be successful.